Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Families Fly Free podcast. I'm Lynn Metler, the creator of Families Fly Free, a membership program where I teach you my simple system to always be able to fly your whole family for free using miles and points. So today, I have got another travel rewards success story for you. These are my favorite podcasts because I love to hear all the different ways people have been able to employ a simple miles and points strategy to do all kinds of cool things. So today joining us is Michele Holmes, and she is in her second year as a Families Fly Free member. And so she's going to share her travel rewards story and some tips she's learned along the way. So welcome, Michele. Glad to have you. And I'll just have you start by sharing a little information about yourself and your family.
Okay, it's great to be here. I'm live in Utah, and my husband and I have been married for 36 years. We have 5 children and 5 grandchildren now, and we have a really wide range of ages. Our oldest is 33, and our youngest is 15, almost 16. But we have a full house still because our daughter and her husband are here while he is getting his master's degree, and so we have 4 of our 5 grandchildren living with us right now.
Oh, wow. You do
We
have a
have a
full
full house, yes.
house. So, do you do any trips with some of the grown kids and or grandkids?
We do. I'll talk about that later. Yeah, that's been a really great perk of this program is being able to do those kind of things.
And you're in Utah, so you also have some,
Yes,
you can just drive and get to some amazing places, right?
we can. We do a lot of that. In fact, before we joined this, we were road trippers. Our kids grew up and we called them road hard. They could drive to South Dakota and back in a day or whatever. They just were used to long haul trips. But our youngest son is getting a little spoiled now with the flying thing, and he is not so much a road tripper. So
Yep, that's how my family has become too. But in somewhere like Utah, I have a friend who lives out there too, and I'm always just she's like, oh, we're just going to Bryce Canyon for the day or whatever.
yeah, Bryce Canyon's an annual trip. That's at least once a year. Yeah, and even Yellowstone's only 6 hours away, so it's really
Oh
nice.
wow. Yeah, and we love Moab too. That's a great
Hmm.
fun
Yep.
town.
Yes.
Okay, but we won't do Utah the whole time. Because I do love Utah. So let's just start. If you can share kind of how your introduction to travel rewards and how you first got started in this hobby, shall we call it?
Okay, I love Disney a lot and always want to go more than I can afford. And a couple of years ago, I think it was Leah at the Budget Mouse. You were on her, or you guys did a collaboration or something. And so that's when I first heard about it. And I thought, oh man, this is really interesting to me. But it was the initial investment of the membership was a lot of money on our budget. And so I was really nervous. So I searched the internet all over and read numerous reviews from sites that were different from Families Fly Free, just from people who had joined your program. And across the board, everything was just like excellent. And this is the best program and it works. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to just try this and we'll see if it works. And so I did. And it's been fantastic.
So had you done any use of miles and points before that?
Nothing. No, we had a Costco card and everything went on our Costco card and we got a check at the end of the year, at the rebate time. And that was it. That was the extent of our bonus kind of points with credit cards.
Yeah,
So you can,
I'm going to have to do a whole podcast on Costco because I can't tell you how much I hear that is but when can I use my Costco card and how does that fit into the mix? So so many people come in with that. So yeah, you have the right idea going there. We just have to shift you over to travel
yes,
rewards as well, right? So
yes.
what was it like for you then to kind of just start from scratch? What was your experience at the beginning?
So I don't know if you remember, but I actually emailed you a couple questions before we joined. I was really nervous because we had credit card debt and I did not want to get more credit card debt. We have a daughter who a few years ago, when she was working at a summer camp, contracted Lyme disease. And it was a devastating thing. And the treatment for that is not covered by insurance. And that's a whole nother, I could do lots of podcasts on that. But anyway, we accrued quite a bit of debt treating her for that and
Mhm.
getting that taken care of, which we did happily. But we were still carrying that balance. And I thought I just was really nervous to first to spend more money and then to start opening credit cards. And so you responded that, if you were careful and, the whole thing wasn't, you weren't going to rack up a bunch of debt and that kind of thing, that it would still work for you and it'd be a good thing. And so we decided to do that. We have gone very slow. We still haven't completed your plan that you outlined for us 2 years later. We're the
Okay.
cautious Family
Uh-huh,
Flight
uh-huh.
members, but we did the Southwest thing right away and got the companion pass. And then we got a Chase Sapphire card. I got one first, and then my husband got one. That's pretty much all we have done until the summer when they had the Capital One. It wasn't the normal Capital One. It wasn't the Venture X. It was
Uh-huh.
I'm talking about. They had,
Regular
right.
venture. Uh-huh.
Yeah, they had that big one that was pretty comparable to that without the big fee, the big $4.95, which I get will pay for itself with the perks you get, but we just haven't done that yet. So we finally did that this summer and are sitting on those points now, which is nice. And now my husband because my companion pass is coming to an end. He's working on his. We just barely got his business card after starting his personal card a couple months ago. So anyway, so we've kind of had a
So,
different journey though but it's
yeah.
been good. We haven't racked up any debt. We are very cautious, and we've used it for things like the orthodontist, which has been great. We paid off the orthodontist with the card to meet a minimum spend, and we pay school fees, and we just bought a water heater this weekend, and just exciting things like that to get her points. But it's
Yeah, so
working really well.
let's delve into doing this starting with some debt. I think that's a great, and that's a common one too, that I'm asked a lot. And generally what we don't want you to be doing is to accumulating more debt, right? Particularly
Right.
on these travel cards, which have high interest rates.
Right. Yeah.
But as long as you are going to not accumulate any more debt and put your everyday spending that you have money in the bank, or like you have to pay the orthodontist and you have the money to cover that,
Right.
if you can charge it to a card and pay it right off, there's no harm in doing that, even if you're already working down some debts. But what you don't want to do, as you said, is accumulate more. And so you felt like you were able to do that without it becoming a problem?
We were, because, for example, we always just paid for medical expenses with our HSA card. It had never occurred to us to put it on a credit card and then reimburse ourselves with the HSA, which seems really basic. Like, why didn't we think of this years ago? We only had one benefit of one kid in the orthodontist. The other ones we all just, I think of all the points we could have had there. It makes me a little sad, but um,
Yeah, that's a
anyway, so
great
we
tip
do
right
that
there.
now. Yeah,
Yeah.
we do that all the time. We now any medical expense is with our credit card, and then we turn around and pull from our HSA or um, things like that, groceries, gas, and then we just kind of treat it like a debit card. You just go in and you pay it off right away.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
anyway,
And
so
let's
it really
talk a little
doesn't.
bit, yeah, about going more slowly. I think that's a good one to talk about too, because you can go at your own pace. And do you feel like you've had success and you've saved money going at a more measured pace?
We're just cautious, and so it has worked great for us. I do feel like
Yeah.
we've just barely scratched the surface, and we don't have a hotel card yet, and I feel like, okay, we need to stop paying for hotels. We need to get on that program now and watch all those videos. We haven't done that yet. We need to get our TSA thing, now that we have a card that will cover that, and just different things like that we have not done, but it's worked for us. So, and even going slow, we have done a ton of things we never would have done in the last 2 years without that.
So yeah, let's talk about that then. What are some of the things that you've been able to do with what you've learned in Families Fly Free?
So you're talking trips or,
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
okay. So the very first time I used the points was my grandmother. She'd had cancer before and it came back and they gave her just weeks to live. And so I used a ton of points right off the bat, but that was okay. I was grateful I could, and flew
Uh-huh.
myself and my daughter and her daughter, who was a baby, out to visit my grandma.
I
And we got
remember
to
that
see her,
story
and she
now.
got to see her
Yeah.
baby, and it was great. Yeah, that was an excellent use of points. That was really great to do that. And that's not a conventional
Probably
thing
the
that
best use of points ever.
right. It was.
Yeah.
Um, last a year ago, in fact, right now, this week, last December of 2023, we flew to Hawaii and did a trip to Kauai. which was just not on our radar at all. But it was one of those things you posted about a sale. I loved the way you post about the sales each week and the different deals and things. And I was able to get round trip tickets from Salt Lake City to Kauai for 15,000 points. And with my companion, it was only like 7,500 a person. And so it was kind of like, how can we not go to Hawaii?
Yeah. Yeah. We got a
That was
similar
crazy.
deal to Maui, I think. Um, but that is a really, really good deal.
A really big one. My husband wanted, he does marathons and bike races and things. And he wanted to do this race in Scotland called the Cape Wrath Ultra Marathon. And getting to Scotland and back is not cheap. We had gone before in 2018 with his family. And he wanted to do this race up in the Highlands. It's an 8-day marathon. You do a marathon each day, and then you end up at Cape Wrath, which is the northernmost tip of the mainland of Scotland. So the entrance for the race was like $1,800. That was already a big ouch. But if he would go over there and volunteer for a year, which he kind of wanted to do just to kind of learn the ropes, just to volunteer setting up tents and helping in the food tent and things like that, then he would get his race fee covered. So the entry fee would be free. So in 2023, last year, he did that. We used our points, or the points he had on his Chase Sapphire, and flew over to Scotland for free and did the volunteering there for the week and then came home. And then this year we were able to fly again for free to Scotland, myself and my husband and our son, and then 2 of our daughters joined us, but they had to pay for their own tickets. They're grown now. And we went over there, and so he was able to go do the race, and then we were able to come and tour with him for about a week and a half afterwards. But that would not have been possible without, I mean, that was a huge savings to be able to fly across the pond for free. So
And
that was
just a
great.
teaser, if you're thinking about joining Families Fly Free, Michelle's going to be hosting a webinar all about what to see and do in Scotland coming up in March of 2025. So in case you're listening to this later, but which is a feature we have every month, at least inside of Families Fly Free, we have different webinars, and some of them are member led because I haven't been to Scotland. And Michelle has. So, and she's been twice. So we love to have our members come in and share their best tips and experiences, because we have other members that I've already connected you with who want to go to Scotland, and so they can help one another. But um,
And those webinars are so helpful. I often miss them because they're at times of the day I can't get to my computer, but I'll go back and watch them later. Or for example, when we wanted to go to Kauai, we knew nothing about Kauai. We went and found that great webinar on there and got a ton of information and then used that. And that was so helpful.
yes, and we have lots of itineraries too. I think we have one for Kauai, that you can kind of take and then as a starting point, and then adjust to what your family's interested in doing. And I love kind of your journey because I think it's a common one. First, you kind of learn to fly around the U.S. and I always say the Caribbean too for free. And then a lot of us venture over to Europe, and then or in the mix, you might figure out how to do hotel stays for free some of the time and add the luxury travel perks. So you haven't gotten to those last two yet, but you're on that. And that's the path my family has taken. I'd say we did US and Caribbean, then we did Europe, then we did luxury, like the airport lounges and that stuff. And then we figured out the hotel side of things. And so, and you just go at your own pace. You don't have to do it all at once or end up with a gazillion cards, because you're saying like you guys are probably working with 3
Right.
cards right now. Well, 4 because you added the capital one. Yeah. Uh-huh. Um, oh, and I wanted to ask about Disney. Have you been able to apply any of it to Disney yet?
Yes. So I've done 2 really great Disney trips. One, I used points to fly on Southwest to Florida and to Orlando. And I surprised my sister, and I surprised my mom with she'd always wanted to go to Epcot and had never been. And so we surprised her with a trip there. And it was really fun. She flew out to visit my sister who lives in a different part of Florida. And my sister told her they were going to go see the manatees, which they did too. But anyway, then she drove them to Disney World and I was waiting at the hotel and we did this mother-daughter trip. And that was really, really
Oh,
fun. And my
yeah.
sister's in the military, so she got the military discount. So it was a really great trip. No flight and really great expense as far as tickets and things. So that was great. And then this a couple months ago in September, Disney offered that crazy price for like $49 a day for children and $79 for adults, which I have mixed feelings on. Everybody, I think, in the US got that deal and it was so crowded.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I don't know that I would do that again. But anyway, my daughter and I took her twin girls who are 8 She wanted to go one more time with them while they're still into the princesses and everything. And we surprised
Sure.
them and took them on a 3-day Disney trip to Disneyland. It's so fun. So, and
Do
again,
you
two
have a
trips that would
preference?
not have been possible without that. So
Do you have a preference of the two? A lot of Utah folks do Disneyland, don't they?
we only did Disneyland when I was growing up, and then we only took our kids to Disneyland because Florida was just in Egypt, it was just too far to get to.
Yeah.
But I like, as far as parks, Disneyland will always be my favorite. There's just so much there, and it's just so quaint, and it was Walt's Park. I love that. But
Yeah.
I love the Disney bubble at Disney World. I love that you can stay on property and how magical that is. We stayed at the Caribbean Beach Resort and the Art of Animation. So just two basic, not super fancy resorts or anything yet. That's
Mhm.
the only experience we've had staying in those places. But I loved it. I just loved being in that Disney bubble and just the magic of it. So now when I go back to Anaheim and we stay in a regular hotel on Harbor, whatever, and I'm just like, this is not as magical. So, but
The
the hotels,
Californian's pretty great out there, but
I
it's
know
just
it's
so
so
expensive
expensive.
and
Yeah,
tough to
that's
get,
not in our
even if you
budget. Yeah.
can pay it. But yeah, we've done that one a couple
Yeah,
times,
I
and
listened to your
that's tough
thing
to
on
beat,
that
to be
one.
able to just walk right out of it into California adventure.
Yeah, that would be lovely. Maybe someday, but
One day, yeah, you just need to do
that's
rent somebody's Disney Vacation Club points or something. Do it that way.
I love the whole Disney section you have in Families Fly Free now. I watch it religiously and just kind of, dream. So, but it'd be, yeah, the whole vacation club and everything. I really have loved learning about that, even though we're not at a point where we can do that. It's really fun
Sure.
to learn
Yeah,
from everybody's
you can
experiences.
still rent from people who do have it. So, and it's
Mhm.
still a good deal. So, yeah, and
Yeah.
when you join Families Fly Free, you now get my Meet the Mouse program, which is how to do Disney for free with miles and points. So that's included when you become a Families Fly Free member. In case you're interested in Disney, if you're not, you never have to look at it. Because we have both inside of Families Fly Free. All right. So would you be able to quantify your savings at all or ballpark it?
So I added it up last year on the little thing you had online at the end of the year, tell us all the trips you took and how much you saved. And then I realized I forgot a couple of things. So my best guess is between $5,000 and $6,000 so far over the
Okay.
2 years, which maybe is
So
low. I don't know, but we never would have been able to afford to spend that on flying. So that's huge for us. And the places that got us, Scotland and Hawaii and things like that, are pretty, Disney World are pretty impressive.
very, yeah, expensive places to go for sure.
Right.
So you feel like it's was worth it for you,
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. In
even though
fact,
you were nervous at the get-go and weren't sure.
I was. And then a year ago, my husband was retired early. His position was eliminated. And
Mhm.
so we have a pension. We're very blessed that way, but it's about half of what we used to make. And we're in our 50s and we still have a teenager at home and we still have a mortgage payment and things like that, we weren't really ready to retire. And so everything was on the table as far as what is going to go as far as cutting our expenses. And of course, that Family Fly Free membership was listed there, and we can do without this. And then we kind of thought about it and added everything up. And we thought, if we still want to do anything and we have this fun teenager at home, we want to do things with him while we can and with our other children that we have been enjoying. We took that Hawaii trip with one of our daughters and her husband. And, just it's nice to be able to have your older kids do things with you. So it did not get the axe, it stayed. We decided that was a priority and we needed to be able to afford that because ultimately it was saving us money, a lot of money. So
I
anyway,
love that because that is often one of the first things people cut, right? When something like that happens is
that
travel.
I love the membership of it. Even though I just kind of am a lurker online, I don't comment a lot and stuff. I just love that community that you've created there. And I love all your weekly emails and everything. And I thought, I'm going to miss that if we get out of this, and I will miss so many opportunities to travel to. So we kept it and have actually traveled a lot this year, even though we are retired now. So,
Yeah, because it seems like it would be sad to have to cut like something that you love, if there's
right,
a way that you can affordably keep doing
right.
it. So can you talk about, the value of remaining a member? What is it that you love about the community and the emails and how does it continue to help you over time for people who aren't in there and they don't know, what it
Okay,
looks like.
right. Because you could say, I learned the hack, I don't need it anymore. I'm sure people say that, but that's not really true because your weekly emails, you always post the sales and you always post where the bonus points are, if Southwest is offering there's things I wouldn't notice. For example, one of your posts a month or so ago talked about 7 times points right now on groceries, gas, and there's one other category I can't remember with Southwest. I would not have been on my radar to go to my Southwest portal and check and see what that was, but I quickly clicked on that link and I have gotten quite a few points just by buying groceries and gas, the last, oh, and Amazon, that's the other category it was. So all my Christmas shopping on Amazon has been with my Southwest card instead of my Amazon card, so that's been good. But just little things like that, just those Hawaii flights I would never have gotten without that notification. And we did hack that one a couple times, so we were able to lower them. Just a lot of like we're doing a cruise in January out of Los Angeles, and that was another one. We'd already booked our flights, and then on one of your emails there was a notice about some kind of sale, check your flight kind of thing. And I did, and sure enough, we saved like 30% on those. So got our points back. And you walk everybody through how to get your points back, how to switch your flights, how to all that kind of thing. I'm sure I'm intelligent enough to figure that out on my own, but do I have the time? No, I don't have the time or the right to devote to that. And so I've devoted very minimal time to this. I feel like I just am so busy. Like I said, we just scratched the surface, but even just that, because you do all the legwork, it enables me to keep, enjoying the benefits of it. So I think it's very valuable.
And I would say too, like you mentioned, the hack, we have one hack that we refer to as the hack, but there's more than just that hack, right? Like I just put together one on how to get A-list this year. And then that the easiest way to do it has now passed, but we'll have a strategy for what you need to be doing next year if you want to try to get Southwest A-list, which is their elite status, if you're not familiar with that. And so there's multiple different hacks that are changing and that we're adding, or, like I said, the one worked through a certain period of time and now it's not as easy anymore. And so you have to know when it's working in order to take advantage, I think, which is key. And I don't know, I wouldn't want to, it's my job, but otherwise have to be trying to search out everything on Southwest and what, I just can't imagine the time that would take if every single person had to do that for themselves.
Right. I was listening to that podcast about the A-list. I had the computer in the kitchen and I was cooking and listening to it at the same time. My husband came in and he goes, "Man, that's complicated." I said, "Yes, we don't have to figure it out. Isn't that great?" And we're not doing that because we're not in a position to do that. So, but it's interesting to learn how that was all. And again, nothing I would have ever figured out. So,
right. Yeah, that one was a little bit more of advanced travel hacking. Yes. I said on that one, if you wanted to try to go for it, but it was relatively, you had to learn how to do it, but they made it relatively simple compared to how it normally is to earn it. But all right. So anything that surprised you about membership?
I was just surprised with how much we were able to do with it. The last 2 years we have traveled so much more than we would have. Just the Scotland, making that possible. That was kind of just one of those, wild hair ideas or a dream. And then he was able to go do that race and we were able to come see him. And that was really cool. And, the Hawaii was just like a bonus surprise. That was great. Being able to do that Disney trip for my mom and visit. I just actually over Thanksgiving, we have 3 children live out of state, and one of our daughters called Wednesday night and she just really needed her mom. And so I got online and I booked a flight and I flew out early Thursday morning and I was able to spend the weekend with her. And again, that was kind of an expensive one, but I needed to be there and it was great. And so I was so grateful that I was able to use it. And I mean, that would have put us back. That would have been money on a credit card we didn't have to spend, if we didn't have the points. So it's just been, it's been really great how easy it is and how much we're able to do with it.
Yeah, I just had a situation with my college age son home for Thanksgiving, and he was like, "Oh, I have an opportunity to go to Florida or whatever over New Year's, but he'd have to fly." And I was able to be like, "No problem. We can just book you on points because we got plenty." And like, what a blessing that is to, because before, like you said, that would have been a big deal. Like, oh my gosh, that's going to be so expensive to try to fly you to, to Florida over New Year's. And that would have been a problem, probably not doable. And now it's just like waving a magic wand and ta-da.
Right. We've flown our children to visit each other, our daughter to go visit her other sister on her birthday, and we've flown our children here, and we've got our daughters coming here for Christmas. We paid for one of her flights with points, and so it's been very helpful.
And I think a lot of people, like when they first start into miles and points, that's sort of their goal is family, something related to family, to bring family to them, to go visit family, something like that. And then they are able to do that and then realize, like you did, oh my gosh, we still have some left where we can do fun vacations too. You can do both.
Right.
So that's great. And I just had a member email me that her new motto is families fly friends free, because she's like flying her friends and getting them free hotels with her own points,
Wow.
which is pretty awesome too. So the whole being able to gift other people, with what you've learned is so great. I did want to ask if you've used any of our personal support, like our email address that's just for members, or the live Q&As, or posting in the community and asking questions, if you found that aspect to be helpful to be able to get answers to questions that you have.
I haven't, but I try to listen to, especially the Q&As whenever I get a chance. In fact, my Southwest flight coming home last night was severely delayed, and I didn't get home till very late. And I remembered that I listened to one where you talked about getting on the Southwest portal and emailing, getting some compensation for that or something. So I thought I got to go find that today and listen to it again. So I haven't
Yeah,
asked
that's a
any
little bit
questions
complicated
myself,
too, but
but
walk you through it. So
yeah. So, but I've used the questions that other people ask. I ask, and so that's been really good. And I
yeah,
was a
and I
little
think
bit like, okay, when it was time to flip our companion pass, it's like, okay, when do I need to get rid of my cards and that kind of thing? And so I can always go find those questions on there, which are very helpful.
yeah, and the live Q&As I do every month, which now go all the way back to 2020, but those are, I think, some of our most popular webinars to listen to or watch, once people join, because like you said, people are going to ask the same questions that you have too. So a lot of things get answered.
And I just love that you archive all those. That's so helpful. So
And do you find it easy enough to find what you need?
I do. Yeah, it's
We
great.
try to make it as user friendly as humanly possible, and always trying to improve that. But I think it's pretty good. Okay. What would you tell someone who's hesitant about joining, just like you were at the beginning?
That it absolutely works and it's worth it. And it will change your life. You will be able to go places you did not think you could go.
So if you can get over the investment, it's a life changer. And yeah, what would you tell yourself in hindsight about the investment that?
Oh, I wish we'd done it sooner. I wish I'd heard of this sooner. I wish we'd done it sooner. So,
Yeah.
as I said, I think of all the braces and all the places that could have gone on paying for those braces for 5 kids. So,
Yep, that I hear that a lot too. If only we had done it sooner, but you've done it now. That's how I look at it. Now and you can reap the benefits going forward. But yeah, I mean, that's a good example on things that you're already having to pay for anyway. And goodness knows, somehow I lucked out with one kid not having to have braces. I don't know how. I have no idea how you end up with straight teeth, but because neither my husband nor I have them, but the other one had to have braces. But yeah, so I mean, there's just always stuff like that. My favorite one is tires. I don't know. I feel like we constantly need new tires on somebody's car.
yes. Yeah, our house is 15 years old, so we've been playing replace the appliances this year, and we just had a water heater go out, and there's just a little bit of a feeling of, okay, it's not so bad. We just paid $1,100, but all those points on that Sapphire card. So,
or even taxes.
A silver lining. Yeah.
Yeah, lessens the pain if you have to pay taxes. That hey, there is a way you can earn some free travel on this.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have a tip that you can share about travel? Something you've learned over your mini trips in the last couple of years?
I don't know if this is just the last couple of years, but just in general, just take the trip, don't postpone it. Our kids grew up so fast, and our grandkids are growing up fast now. And when our children were young, we had one bathroom for 9 years, and we could have finished that second bathroom much earlier if we had not traveled so much. But we had a trailer, and we took our kids to Yellowstone and Yosemite and Mount Rushmore and the Grand Canyon and all the parks in Utah. And they talk about those trips now and have such great memories, but they seem to be over the trauma of just having one bathroom for that long. So I take the trip and that's kind of where we're at now. We're like, our budget is really tight on this retirement, but because we can use your system, we're able to still go do things. And we are very frugal when we go do the things that we do. Our children in Scotland thought we were going to starve them this last year. We're like, no, we're just doing one meal a day, get some snacks at the grocery store. So, but just take the trip. Don't wait. Travel is so worth it. So
I think that's a fantastic advice. Take the trip. Yeah, I have tried to promise myself that too. If ever I'm offered an opportunity to do something cool, just do it. I will not regret.
You will not regret it.
Having done it. Yeah, even though if I feel I'm tired or whatever, just do it, Okay. And do you have any trips planned where you're headed next?
I'm actually headed back to Seattle next weekend to see the same daughter I just saw. So she's going through some things right now and needs her mom. So it's fantastic that I can pop up there and see her. Yeah. And then in January, we're doing a cruise that we had booked before our surprise retirement. So we are going to go ahead and go on that. Got great deals on our flights, and that's great. Didn't have to pay for anything there. And then we may be going to Peru in March. We need to figure that out really quickly. Wow. Yeah, our daughter, her husband, our son-in-law is in PA school right now, and he's going to be doing a rotation down there in March. So our daughter's going to go down, and she wants us to come down and join her. So we're trying to figure out if we can make that work. Yeah, we're sitting on those Capital One points now, thinking, okay, that could be used to pay for those tickets. And things down there are looking pretty cheap so far for hotels and things like that. So hopefully we'll make that work.
You got to learn how to do your hotels free.
I do. I need to get on that. I know. I did told my son, my 15-year-old, I said, this can be your job. You need to watch these videos and figure this out for your mom so we can get going on this.
Yes. So. Yes, absolutely. Okay. Anything else that you'd want to share or advice or
No, I'm just so grateful to you that you have done this. It's nice to finally talk to you in person for a minute, and this has been a great decision and great outcome. So I'm very grateful.
Well, I'm super glad that it's worked so well for you guys, and very fun to hear all the things you've done with it, and both for family and for fun trips, and that you've prioritized travel. I love that. That's fantastic. So definitely wisdom for everyone. All right. Well, thanks so much, Michele, for sharing your experience and your journey. So we will wrap it up for this week, and we'll see everyone on the next episode. Have a great week.